Hello, in this video we will discuss about the ovulation and fertilization to pregnancy, and we will discuss also about the birth. So the total gestation period of the pregnancy is usually about 280 days. So let's begin to understand about the first from the beginning in the placenta and during the pregnancy. Here is the pregnant lady which contain a placenta in the uterus. So here is the bigger picture for understanding. This is the red color showing the placenta and blue color showing that amniotic fluid, and it is amniotic sac is surrounded in the amniotic fluid. Amnion basically is surrounded by it, and the upper layer is known as the chorion, and on the uppermost layer is known as uterus, which that is showing in the black color. So here is the cervix and vagina, you can understand as well. So the cervix will delay during the fetus delivery. So amniotic fluid is contained here. So let's begin to understand about the first beginning, the fertilization. So here is the female which contain brain, contain hypothalamus here, and hypothalamus contain neuro secretory cell. So the neurosecretory cell is the signal from the higher brain cortex to the hypothalamus to stimulate the adenohypophysis of the pituitary gland to produce the follicle stimulating hormone. From the follicles, basically gonadotropin releasing factor released from the hypothalamus to release the follicle stimulating hormone after the stimulation to promote the primary follicle to maturation. And this is the follicle stimulating hormone will trigger by the time wise. So the 28 days required for the complete ovulation, ovarian cycle, menstrual cycle. So here is the fluid contained follicular cell will be formed, and this during this formation estrogen is also produced, but estrogen is important for the endometrium, the uterine wall during the menstrual cycle will be thick due to the estrogen production. So the estrogen is also the responsible for the production and maturation of the secondary sexual character, for example mammary gland and the adipose tissue. So here let's begin to understand the estrogen. Estrogen will inhibit the follicle stimulating hormone. After the inhibition of the follicle stimulating hormone to secrete the luteinizing hormone, and luteinizing hormone will be responsible for the ovulation. So the ovulation will be occur, and this follicular cells will convert into the corpus luteum, is the yellow color looking like this. And this corpus luteum itself is a glandular tissue which that produce the progesterone, and this corpus luteum produced progesterone, and the progesterone is also responsible for the thickening of the endometrium, the wall of the uterine, for the implantation of the egg. So here is the progesterone. This progesterone, the hormone, develop the endometrium and make it receptive for the implantation of the zygote. So the placenta formation due to the progesterone. When progesterone will decrease, if the progesterone will decrease, so the miscarriage can be occur. So after the ovulation, they produce the egg into the fallopian tube. Here I am drawing the fallopian tube for understanding. So during the intercourse, the sperm will be produced. There are a lot of sperms, the millions and billions of sperms will produce, which that is a one sperm is selected while the other will discard. And the fertilization will be occur to form zygote, cleavage formation to produce morula, the morus-like structure, morus alba, which contain a mulberry plant, which look like this, morula, and blastula, due to the blastocyst formation and blastocyst formation. This blastocyst is able to implant into the uterine wall, the endometrium. So the receptive part is the receptive step is the blastocyst. After the blastocyst, the gastrulation formation, and the gastrulation formation to become a embryo formation, and this embryo is become a fetus. So here is the placenta, and this is the fetus I am drawing to understand the placenta formation, how it's possible. Here is the chorion, is the uppermost layer, and here is the amnion, inner, and the sac contain the amniotic fluid, and amniotic fluid is surrounded, the amnion surrounded by the amnion. Inside is the amniotic fluid, and here is the umbilical cord, which that is used after the development. So the endometrium will develop the umbilical cord for the oxygen and carbon dioxide and other nutrients exchange through a maternal to the fetus exchange. So here let's begin to understand. First is the receiving and gastrulation formation and other things. So this is the progesterone we release from the endometrium also. Placenta release the progesterone which that is maintain the pregnancy. If the progesterone level will be down, so the pregnancy will miscarriage will be. So the birth is the total gestation period pregnancy is usually about 218 days. 80 days. So here after the embryo formation is the developmental cases and developmental processes, and these developmental processes will produce the organogenesis. The organ formation is during the development. So the complete organogenesis will be occur and the developed the organs to become a fetus, and embryo will convert into the fetus. And this also contain umbilical cord for the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange and nutrients from the sugar etc. from the female, from the maternal circulation. So here is the placenta is the red color showing that which that is modified, and in this way here is you can see amniotic sac contain fluid is shock absorptive. In this way the shock absorptive mean the protection against the abrasion or something. So here are pressure. So here is the fetus I am drawing again after the more growth. So here the black color showing the adrenal gland, and while here is the pituitary gland of the fetus, and here is the placenta will produce the luteotropic hormone, and also the pituitary gland will produce the luteotropic hormone which stimulated by the placenta during the pregnancy and the mammary development, and also the lactogen, the placental lactogen will be produced from the placenta, and this will lead to mammary production. So the lactation of milk will begin through a progesterone, luteotropic hormone and lactogen. While here the progesterone is when in decrease, so the miscarriage can be occur. So on the other hand, here is the fetus will produce after the adrenocorticotropic hormone will stimulate the adrenal gland of the fetus to produce the corticosteroid, which that it will infect the maternal brain. After the maternal brain infection effect after that complete the 280 days, so the delivery process will begin, and in this way the pituitary gland produce the posterior pituitary to produce the release oxytocin into blood, and oxytocin stimulates mother uterine walls contraction. So this mother uterine wall contraction due to the increase the oxytocin in the blood through a fetus stimulation. Also fetus move for the moving outside, and the involvement of the movement of fetus also. And here is the receptor in cervix excited, and the baby moves further into a vagina, and uterine walls contracts more vigorously, and in this way the vigorously movement and contraction due to the oxytocin. So the oxytocin is also important for the relaxation and blood circulation more, as well as the pair bonding. So on the other hand, here is the beginning of the oxytocin will become a pair bonding with the fetus with the mother. So here is the cervix will dilate after the contraction of uterine contraction, and in this way the vagina and cervix will be open and dilate and expel the fetus out, and that nursing can be controlled. So the nurse can control this fetus delivery. So the test tube babies, if we will discuss, so the if the fertilization will be dysfunction, and the mother and father will not, or couple will not able to enjoy the good intercourse for fertilization, so the in vitro fertilization will be occur. In this way sperms and egg will in vitro fertilize into the test tube, and the fertilization will begin and cleavage to the development will be occur, and during the implantation the blastocyst will be implant into the uterus. Thanks.